Welcome back, everybody, to Music Talk. I'm Dave.
I'm Mike.
And this week, we're probably going to wrap up the 2021 series with this one. I think this is the last one we have from last year. So this week, we're doing the Doobie Brothers. And I believe it's called Liberte.
Liberte. Yep.
Liberte?
Liberte.
Liberte, yeah. This one came out in October, so we're just now getting around to it. So anyway, the album cover, I just showed you, it's basically the same thing. You got the tracks on the back, and then you got what appears to be like an embroidered patch, maybe, or something. I don't know. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Decent cover. I like the wood stuff in the back, even though I think it's a little bit of false advertisement because it's got John McPhee on here, and he doesn't do a whole lot on the record, man. Honestly. Here's your pamphlet. I showed you at the beginning. It's got all the words to each song, and you roll through. You can see it's got some cool little pictures. There's a cannon in there and all that. Anyway, American flag, motorcycle. So then you get to the ending here. It gives you all the players and each track that they did. So this was produced by John Shanks.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, to me, it's a John Shanks CD with Patrick Simmons and Tom Johnson.
Yep.
Because if you read who plays what, it's pretty much John Shanks playing everything on just about every song.
Yep.
So, which kind of disappointed me a little bit because John McPhee is a fantastic guitar player, which is the guy you see here with the acoustic, right? That's John McPhee. Of course, you got Tom Johnson and Patrick Simmons, the two original guys. So when you look at the track listing, John McPhee plays electric guitar on track 4, the guitar on track 11, the mandolin on track 6, banjo on track 6, and a pedal steel on track 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then he does a lot of vocal work. But that's it. Everything else is done by John Shanks, man, as far as all the guitar work and everything else. So it's kind of disappointing a little bit to me. I mean, I know Tom Johnson probably plays a little bit of guitar and Patrick probably plays a little bit of guitar. But you do have Billy Payne on here.
Yeah.
Who was Little Feat's piano player.
Yep. And also in the early days, Emmylou Harris. Too.
Right.
Just part of the Hot Band.
And then you got the touring bass player, which is John Cowan, but he doesn't play on any of the record. He only does backup vocals.
Yeah.
But you got Victor Andrizzo on drums, which he's a studio guy. He's played for a lot of people. Yeah. Bob Glaub plays bass on 4 or 5, 6, maybe 6 songs. He's another one of those guys that's a studio dude. You know, so you're full of studio people here. Yeah. With just Tom Johnson and Patrick Simmons, man.
Yeah, they're studio too. I mean, pretty much.
Well, real quick, the CD looks like this. I forgot to show it.
I liked the album altogether. I mean, I got to say, you know, to me, it was a good. You know, they covered a lot of styles. It was a good. You know, I just said it was a good spread. As we go through each song, I'll tell you what I heard.
Yeah. Well, the first song, "Oh Mexico," which is a good opener. I liked it pretty good. Tom Johnson singing on it. It's got some really good slide guitar work going on in there. Yeah. It's a good hook. Got some good guitar work.
Yeah. I called it a slowed down late 90s, early 2000s country.
Yeah. I think a lot of this album is like that.
A little bit, you know, if you'd have speeded it up a little bit, you would have had Vince Gill, you know.
Yep. One thing, though, about this whole CD and this song, too, is there is a good separation of the different instruments. So you do hear different guitar parts on both sides, and there's a lot going on in every song. I mean, there's stuff they're layered all in there. So, you know, you get a lot of that, especially if you're listening to it with the headphones. You really hear it. So, yeah. But Oh Mexico, I thought it was a good song. It was a good opener. The next song we get to is Better Days. And man, it sounds like Bruce Springsteen to me.
That's exactly what I got down here too. It
You
was
know,
it was identical to Bruce Springsteen.
yeah. Um, it was, mellow, but it wasn't bad. I mean, I think it's more like Patrick Simmons' voice is sounding a lot like Bruce to me.
Well, it's not only that, it was the formula they used when they opened the song up. And
Mhm.
that, to me, I heard the E Street Band. Only
Yeah.
missing was a sax.
Yep.
That was there wasn't a sax there, but which made me wonder. I didn't spend a lot of time looking at who wrote what or did what. I didn't look at the production liners or anything, but
Well, I'll tell you real quick.
I almost wonder if Springsteen wrote the song.
No, John Shanks wrote every song on the record.
Okay, okay,
But when Patrick Simmons sings, he helped write, and when Tom Johnson sings, he helped write it.
right,
So the whole album is Patrick Simmons and John Shanks, or Tom Johnson and Tom Shanks.
yeah,
I mean John Shanks.
yeah.
So that's the whole record. Is John Shanks on every song, and then whichever one sang helped write it. So it's crazy, and it was produced by John Shanks. So that's why I'm saying it's a John Shanks CD with Patrick Simmons and Tom Johnson. You know, so I do want to apologize if we're getting a bad signal here because last week we got 9 inches of snow, and tonight we have another 5 coming in. So it's a storm outside right now, and I'm planning on looking out the window shortly and seeing 5 more inches of snow. So just what I wanted, right? So then we get to number 3, right? This song right here is a direct ripoff of Slow Down, except for it's a little slower.
Yeah.
The song Slow Down, written by Larry Williams, but the Beatles made it famous.
Yeah. Beatles had it on something new.
Yeah. The whole song that's all I hear is that song.
Right. Well, I mean, now vocally, it really had a good heavy Doobie Brothers sound vocally.
Right. With Tom Johnson, to me, has more of the Doobie sound.
Right.
Right. And it is a decent rocker. And I will say I like the song, but it was definitely that lick was ripped off of Slow Down so bad. So next we get to number 4, which is Cannonball. And to me, it sounded like Keith Urban, like a Keith Urban pop country song.
Well, I called it outlaw country. 4 on the floor, you know.
Exactly.
Waylon Willie formula back there in the 70s and stuff, just a little souped up with better production.
Yeah. I think at least with the outlaw country, you got a little more, how can I say it, balls?
Yeah, a little more guts to it.
But I guess what you're saying that is more production is more poppy, really.
Polished. Yeah.
Yeah, more polished. Yeah. So then number 5 is Wherever We Go.
Yeah.
And we got Patrick Simmons singing again.
That's the Huey Lewis.
So this one you think sounds like Huey?
Oh yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
You know what it sounded like to me? It sounded like Jackson Brown's Somebody's Baby.
Yeah, I can see that.
The musical part reminded me of that a lot, but it was also very similar to number 2, Better Days.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah.
And then we get to number 6, which is The American Dream.
Okay.
Just so you'll keep track. I know that you get the order. Sometimes your orders aren't quite like the record.
I know it's weird. No, I mean, I just copy it off.
Yeah. So number 6 on the CD is The American Dream. It's another Tom Johnson, and it this is going to sound funny, but when it first came on, I swear I thought it was Little Pink Houses from John Mellencamp.
John Cougar Mellencamp. Yeah. My wife even said, "Was that John Cougar?"
Yeah. And then when it gets to the chorus, it reminds me of Say You Love Me by Fleetwood Mac.
Well, but also the vocals sounded like the Eagles.
The Eagles too. Yeah. It's really strange, this song, which I like the song, and I like the break that they had in there too, because it was a pretty cool break. Had a good vocals. I thought it was a good song. It sounded like they mashed up Fleetwood Mac and John Mellencamp to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that intro is totally Pink Houses.
Yeah. And And you see, folks, this is totally unrehearsed because my list is totally out of sync with his.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I'm just going right down the CD track list. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
that's what I thought I had.
yeah. Sometimes Amazon likes to mess with you.
I guess.
That's like the second or third time that you've had a different track list.
I know.
All right. So, number 7, which is Shine Your Light. Now we're at Shine Your Light. So,
John Mayer.
dude, I have it written right here, Waiting on the World to Change. John Mayer, Waiting
John
on the
Mayer.
World to Change. It's exactly the same song.
Yeah.
I mean, almost a spitting image of it. The sound of the guitar, everything. And you know what? I meant to look it up and see if John Shanks had anything to do with John Mayer on that record. And I forgot to do it because John Shanks has been with everybody. So I won't doubt if he might have done the production of that song for John Mayer. Dude, that was a total. But I will tell you, I like the song.
Yeah.
I like the words. Let your horses run free and all that stuff. It was a really good song.
Like I said in the beginning, I was pleasantly surprised with the album because it was a good mix all over the map, you know. And I mean, I guess by today's standards, everybody would call that Americana now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Probably so.
I don't think they set out to really do anything fresh. They just set out to play some good music.
So number 8 I got is We Are More Than Love. And that's a Patrick Simmons thing. And this one I didn't really have a lot written down on. I mean, it was okay. It was kind of a sappy song.
It's a good R&B ballad.
Yeah, but it wasn't bad. And then number 9, actually the next two, 9 and 10, Easy is number 9, which to me sounded the most like a Doobie Brothers song that any of them did.
Had a taste of Clapton in there, though.
Well, you had those congos and bongos and stuff like you used to hear.
That guitar intro, that whole hook that they were using, that was on. I'm trying to think of the name of the Clapton song now. But that whole thing was totally lifted from that Clapton song. I can't think of the name of it. But
yeah. I mean, I liked this song. It had a catchy chorus. It reminded me of what the Doobie Brothers used to sound like.
Right.
You know. And then number 10, which is Just Can't Do This Alone, is exactly Long Train Running revisited.
Yeah, that's Doobies. I just got Doobies written by that. You know?
I mean, it's the same intro. The
yeah, the same. I love the sound of that guitar work. It needed to be revisited.
Right. 9 and 10 are both totally. You could have put them on one of their albums in the 70s.
Yeah.
And it would have fit, you know. And then number 11, we get The Good Thing, which again reminds me of Keith Urban.
Americana Outlaw.
Yeah. Which is it's a good song. Yeah, you know, Billy Payne kind of shines a little bit on this one, and the piano is a lot more piano-ish on this one. And then the last song we got is Amen, Old Friend, right? And this is a slow, sad song, kind of. And it's got a good meaning, and it reminded me of something that Randy Newman would put in like a Toy Story movie.
Well, that or yeah. Also, too, it was just sounded to me like a good country rock ballad from the old country rock days, you know, which they weren't too far removed. I mean, now granted, Doobie Brothers at the time, they were more leaning towards the Steely Dan side of things and stuff. Country rock was really rocking it on, you know, because they actually, to me, between the Eagles and the very early Doobie Brothers, Little Feat, you know, I mean, of course, you can keep naming off bands, Allman Brothers, Marshall Tucker, you know, that was the beginning of country rock.
Right.
And then when country rock got popular, the Doobie Brothers drifted away from it, went more towards the Steely Dan side of things. What I mean by that is they put Michael McDonald to work, you know, and started, you know, taking it to the streets and stuff like that.
Right. They started to get a little more soul in them. Right. But to me, like Vice was one of my favorite albums by them. It was actually What Were Once Vices Are Now Habits. Right. You know, that's the whole title, but I always call it Vices. Right. I love that album. To me, that was the Doobie Brothers that I like the most.
That's got Blackwater on it.
It does have Blackwater on it.
That's the one I passed out to in Japan in my apartment and woke up 8 hours later and the 8 track was still playing.
And if you're going to pass out, that's a great one to do it to me, that was the true Doobie Brothers sound. When Michael McDonald came along, they changed,
Yeah.
you know. And then when Tom Johnson came back to the band, they got that sound back. And, you know, and to me, that was the Doobie Brothers I liked. So, with that being said, this album, the first 6 songs were not as good as the last 6 songs. Right. I thought the second half of the CD was a whole lot better than the first half. You know, you got Shine Your Light, Easy, Just Can't Do This Alone, and even Amen, Old Friend. All 4 of those are probably the 4 strongest songs on here. And the most that sounded like, with the exception of Shine Your Light, the most that sounded like the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
You know, and I more lean to the Tom Johnson stuff because I like his voice better.
I like him too.
And Patrick Simmons is good, don't get me wrong, but all of his songs sounded the same.
Yeah.
That he sang on, you know. But with Tom, you got that rock and guitar. I mean, you know, that's
yeah. See, you're also missing other vocalists too that Doobie Brothers had all along, like Keith Knudsen, for example. Even though he's one of the drummers, he had a couple of major hits as the lead singer.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a very recognizable voice, you know. And so, yeah, I mean, Tom Johnson to me is about the only really recognizable voice happening.
Exactly.
Or it's the Doobie sound.
Yep. And when he sings, you know you're listening to the Doobie Brothers. Yep. You know. Yep. And I'm not trying to put Patrick Simmons down.
No.
I like him too. I just feel like at this point he's starting to sound a whole lot like Bruce Springsteen, and and his songs are a lot slower and more melodramatic, I guess you could say.
Well, I think it gets to a point, you know, like I hate to say it, the older you get, the more you want to take your time and let the space talk.
I guess.
When you're younger and full of energy, you want to shove as much as you can in a 12-bar measure, you know.
But the Tom Johnson stuff to me was more rocking, more upbeat. Yeah. I liked it, you know. I mean, I liked the whole CD, but to me, the stronger half was the second 6 songs.
Right.
The first 6, you know, they were okay, I suppose. So the production, all the instruments were great. I missed the old drumming and the old bass playing of the Doobies. It was the rhythm section on here is just cut and dry. You know, this is it.
Studio musicians in there, cookie cutter templates is what they're dealing with.
You know? Yeah, and I did not get the sense of a live aspect of this at all. This was a total, from first song to 12th song, a total studio production. That's it. You could not reproduce this album live unless you had 20 people on that stage, because they had so much going on. Everything was swirling around, way overproduced, in my opinion. You know, I still say it's a John Shanks CD with Tom Johnson and Patrick Simmons singing on it. Is how I can best describe it. You have some flares of the Doobies, which those were the good songs, but most of it I didn't feel Doobie Brothers on. You know.
Right. Exactly.
You know, the Doobie Brothers that I grew up listening to anyway, you know, the China Grove and, you know.
Well, they touch bases, you know, Can't Do This Alone. I mean, yeah, Don't You Mess With Me, you know, I mean, you know, that was pretty close to the actual Doobies, you know. Easy, take out that hook I think, I still say they lifted it from Eric Clapton, but.
Yeah, well, Easy,
yeah, it still sounded like Doobies, bro. You know. I mean,
yeah, Easy and Just Can't Do This Alone are definitely 2 Tom Johnson Doobie Brothers songs. I mean, he definitely was the majority writer on those 2. Then the hooks that you hear that you think they could have took out probably came from John Shanks. you know.
I wonder too, though. You gotta think about it. Okay, when they left the studio, okay, that left John Shanks back there at the studio for the mix down and everything. And it's just like with the Beatles, okay, day in the life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To get you into my life, and they walk out of the studio. There were no strings or anything on that, and they come back and hear the final mix down. And George Martin's put a whole string section on there. Got the drums buried, I mean, because he had to make room for other things.
Yeah. But the thing to me was, though, I mean, you had a guy in John McPhee who was a phenomenal guitar player, and you opened up for Southern Pacific. You
Yep,
saw him live, man.
yep,
This dude is a guitar playing machine,
yep.
and yet he didn't have any parts hardly on this record.
Oh, I know.
And I mean, there's many chances that he could have came in there and did a screaming solo, and they totally didn't do it. And it's like, I don't know, man. I mean, you got a guy like John McPhee. You need to let him loose on a couple songs, man. I mean, you're gonna stick him on banjo or a mandolin for a couple songs and a little bit of strumming guitar. It's just, it's a waste of having that talent.
Yeah,
And you had him there. You could have used him. So I
yeah.
don't know.
I just think that I just think they just totally. I think they did this as a project that just to get him out of the house.
Could be. And I mean, I know that they all have these charities and stuff that they raise money for, which they do good stuff. They're great people.
Oh yeah.
You know, the Doobies are always been great people. Um, I all in all, I think the record was a decent record. It's not a bad record. You could put it on and listen to the whole thing. There's not anything on here that I was like, I don't like that at all. You could play it. It's pleasant. It's a good, I guess, mild rocker, I guess. Not even really too much of a rocker, really. Um, but it was a good, easy listening to record, you know.
I'd classify it like right in there with a Crosby, Stills, and Nash type.
Maybe.
They're not hard rockers either, and they're all
No, but they had a lot of dynamics.
well, yeah, on and off stage.
This album here is not a lot of dynamics. It's pretty much straightforward, formulated pop songs, really. Pop country. I
Yeah,
mean, all in all, I give it a 6.8, man. I mean, it's okay. It's a decent record. Um, I would I would probably take a few songs off of it and listen to a lot, but I'm not going to listen to the whole CD a lot.
I'm gonna give it a 7. I just want to see originality, and I mean, I know it's pretty hard today to come up with something original, but there was a lot of things on here that hit you right in the face. I mean, right off the bat, you're thinking Huey Lewis or Bruce Springsteen or whatever. I mean, and it shouldn't hit you that way. But I was pleasantly surprised, to be honest with you, at how well they pulled the stuff off. It sounded really good. I mean, as far as you know, a new album by the Doobie Brothers, although it's only 3 of them. Uh,
Yeah,
but
really two.
yeah, 2. I mean, as much as I like Michael McDonald, I'm glad that he wasn't on here.
Yeah. I will tell you though, I saw a live version of them doing a couple of these songs like a month ago, and they're pulling it off really well. I mean, the vocal work's good. I'm pretty sure John Shanks is playing some rhythm in the back. John McPhee. I mean, it sounded good live. So
How many drummers?
probably opens up more live
How
too.
many drum? They were using 2 still.
They had a percussionist and a drummer. They had a different drummer though. It wasn't the Indrizio guy, but he kind of looked like he could have been the percussionist. So I'm not sure if it was him, but I don't think it was. I think they had two different guys. But we had one big percussion guy with all kinds of stuff around him, and then you had a regular drummer.
Well, that's the
Um,
big thing now. You got the percussionist that has a bigger setup than the drummer.
yeah. Well, I mean, when you're talking about like an album like this, where you got 50 different things going on. You got to have all that. So anyway, all right, well, we'll wrap it up. I mean, good album, easy listening to. It's not bad. I gave it a 6.8. Mike gave it a 7.0. I wish it was more Doobie-ish, but it's not. I mean, you know, half of it sounds Doobie Brothers. Half of it sounds like something you've already heard 10, 20 years ago. So
yeah, I'm again, I was pleasantly surprised with it. I mean, I had to listen to it 2 times. It just kept growing on me every time I listened to it. I mean, now the obvious things that stuck out were still there. They didn't get any softer, but but I mean, all in all, rock on, man.
yeah, and that's what the Doobies do. All right, well, next week we're going to bring you some 2022 albums. So we got those coming in. They're starting to flow in now. So all these guys better be putting it out so we can bring you new stuff. And we'll get out of 2021, move into 2022. So until next time, y'all stay safe.
And that's right. Peace out and listen to the music.